Hello, this is Mrs. Himes, and today we're talking about ASL2 Mission 3B Concept 2, telling about your family tree. We're going to focus on three areas today: continuity, signing your family tree, and sentence structure. Now, continuity is something that we have talked about a lot in ASL2 and ASL1. And it's mainly that because you're creating a visual image for the viewer, you have to make sure that when you are referring to nouns, that you're referring to them in the same spot. Because when you point to another spot and you're referring to the same person, it's confusing. Because a lot of times the viewer is focusing on what they're seeing. And if you put Bob over to your left, but then refer to him at your right, people would believe that you're signing about somebody other than Bob, even though that's not your intent. Setting up your reference point that that person is actually standing there. A problem that I have a lot is I put somebody, let's say, to the left, and then I sign about other things, and when I go back to refer to that person, I have forgotten where I placed that person. So it helps me to visually place the person right there. And it also helps as far as with receptive skills when you're watching a conversation that has a lot of people in it and a lot of reference points, that you yourself are actually visualizing the person being where the signer has set them up. Okay, on to family tree. We touched on this a little bit in Mission 3A, but now we're going to expand on it, and we're going to focus on our ancestry, family tree that goes beyond your parents. You have to look at it as though it's a family tree with the person who you're signing about in the center spot at the bottom of your signing space. And then whenever you sign about their parents, you're going to move up. Now, typically, when you're referring to anything in ASL, your dominant hand leads everything. So when you go up, you're going to go up to the left of, if you're left-handed, to the person, or if you're right-handed, to the right. So just remember that. Always should start with your dominant hand. So this person in particular starts at the bottom of your signing space. Not really far below, but just kind of at the mid-range for where you are. And when you move up and refer to their parents, you can establish them at points above point A. For your maternal side and your paternal side, which is your mother's side of your family and your father's side of the family, make sure you put them on opposite sides. So if you put your mother to the left of point A, then that means any maternal family will be to the left of point A. If you put your father to the left of point A, then any paternal side or any of your father's family will be on that side. So again, you have to remember where you have placed them, because that could mean the difference of Auntie Susan on your mother's side or Auntie Sarah on your father's side. So after you set up the parents, you go above the parents, keeping the trend, above the parents, and if you have started with your father on the left-hand side, then your mother needs to be on the right-hand side. And you just keep going up to the great-grandparents as well if you need to. Now, just a tip, if you know you are going deep into your great-grandparents, start your initial point A person lower so that you can keep going up without getting outside the signing space. This is important as well, because when you're indexing and pointing to these people and setting them up, you need to make sure that you're setting them up where they're not too close to each other to where it's confusing when you point who you're referring to, but not too far to where you set up this real huge signing space and it's confusing. The diagram, as you can see, sets up point A in the middle, and then the father's side to left of point A, and then the mother's side to the right. Now, when you're talking about siblings, you're going to sides. So if you're referring to your father's siblings, you again will start with you as the person in point A, then raise up to the left for their father, and then left of their father, not up and left, but just to the left of them, you start with your siblings. And again, you're creating a visual representation of a family tree so that it's easier for the viewer to kind of keep track. If this is the mother, maternal aunt, paternal aunt, what it is. All right, now we're going to go into sentence structure for discussing or telling about family tree history or ancestry or genealogy. In the English sentence, I am American, the subject of the sentence is I and the object of the sentence is American. In ASL, we follow the topic-comment sentence structure, and the topic typically is the object of the English sentence. But when we're talking about genealogy, what ASL does is, because we don't use am and an and AN at the end of America, that changes the complexity of the sentence. And so in ASL, you would just need two signs. Me, America. And if you would translate that, I am American. So then the me in that subject becomes the topic, and the comment is American. Now, a lot of sentence structure, talking about genealogy, you're going to use contrastive structure, where you're going to talk about two different topics, two different subjects, sometimes 3, 4, and on, if you go on deep into your family history. So if you were talking about your parents, what you would do is, my mom is American, my father is not. You have set up two topics, mom and father. In the ASL gloss of it, you would do my mom, she's over there, my dad, he's over there. And then when you would sign American, you would sign it with shoulder shift, making sure your shoulder is facing where your mom is, and sign America. And then when you're referring to your father, shoulder shift to where you've talked about your father, and sign not America. And that would translate into my mom is American, my dad is not. The shoulder shift is not required, but again, it makes it more clear if not only are you pointing at your mom, but your shoulders are showing you where your mom is. Visually, if the viewer is not clear who they're signing about, they're able to pick it up because not only are you pointing to that person and looking at that spot, you're also shoulder is facing. So that just makes it a clear visual separation. And then when you shift back, it's just even more clear that you're signing about somebody different.